Welcome everybody to a new video where I will show you how to connect your Astro website to Ghost CMS. I don't like the phrasing of that. I couldn't come up with anything better. But basically what it means is how do you get your content from your Ghost site and then use it in Astro. Essentially, how do you use Ghost as your content management system? So what I've loaded up here is Ghost. Let me make it full screen. This here is Ghost. It's just a box standard CMS, and it's one of those that is not headless, so it's head full, which means it does render your content for you. Normally you would load a theme, or you could create your own theme if you wanted, and then you would have your website. However, you can choose to just use it as a headless CMS. That is, you use the CMS part, with the posts and the tags and drafts and that, and then you load it in using the API, which I will show you here. Yes, thank you. Here's the API. So I've hosted an instance of Ghost on my little server, and if you want to follow along and you don't have your own Ghost instance, feel free to use mine. So it's https://ghost-v5.simsa.host, and then the API key is this one here. I'll put it in the description as well, so that's where that information is going to be. So for today, there's two endpoints that we'll be looking at. We won't be interacting with them directly, but I just want to show you the shape of the data that Ghost spits out. So you call this URL here, and then you get back a list of posts, and each one will have an ID, UUID, title, slug, and then the HTML that we display for the post. There's featured images, whether it's visible, whether it's featured, when it was created, updated, and then here the OG image, Twitter image, meta title, sorry. It's all about social media, meta tags, and so on. Lots of great content, or lots of great stuff here. Then there's the tags, which is what the posts can have. They can have a tag, and you can also load them directly here. They also have an ID and a slug. Whether they're internally visible or publicly visible, and they'll sometimes have a description, sometimes they'll have a picture. So that's the shape of the Ghost data. We'll be using the JavaScript library, so we won't be interacting directly with it, but still it's very useful to know what the data looks like behind the scenes. So the starting point will be this Astro block that I built in a previous video. For this one, we used Markdown and local files as our source of blog posts. So we'll be deleting that, and then we'll be re-implementing the content or the block with Ghost as the backend. So let's do that. First up, I'm just gonna open up VS Code. I'm gonna make that full screen for you. I'm gonna close down everything so we're sort of on the same page here. If you want to follow along exactly what I'm doing, then this source code will be available on my GitHub. Also, I'll put a link in the description. Of course, you don't have to go digging through everything to find it. First up, I'm going to delete the images. We don't need those here anymore. Delete. Then I'm going to delete the posts. Also don't need those anymore. And this one. Then I'm going to delete here the index file. Don't need that. Then let's clean up this tag page. So first of all, let's empty out the get static paths, and also the whole thing here where you load the markdown and then you filter it. We don't need that anymore. And then this, so we get rid of the error. Cool. So that's just a little bit of housekeeping, so we have a clean slate almost. Then we have to install the Ghost JavaScript module and the types for it. So the name is going to be @try_ghost, which is the namespace, content API, and then the types, which will be like this. Now we need the types because we're using TypeScript, and without them, well, it's going to complain. It will still work, but we lose the convenience of TypeScript. So yep, that was quick, 2.8 seconds. Very happy with that. Then I'm going to create a .env file. So whenever you have sensitive data like what we're doing here, which is going to be Ghost content API key, it's a sensitive thing. So normally you probably don't want to share it. The content API key is read only, so if it leaks, it's not the end of the world. But with other credentials as well, you don't want to share this stuff. So what you would do is you would use environment variables, and then you would have your software read from the environment, and then when you deploy it, then you securely add your environment variable, and all that is fine and dandy. But when you're developing locally, then usually you would create a .env file, and then you'd have some test values or development values for these sort of environment variables that's expected later in production. So the key is going to be this one here that I've already created. Boop. And then also I want to create another one called API URL. Now, this obviously isn't sensitive, the URL, but it's also useful if you want, you can configure your application in one place. There we go. And then let's hop into our TS config and add another alias that we're going to be using later. I'm going to call it lib for library, and it's going to be a folder like that. And let's create that folder in source. It's called lib. And then I'm going to create a file called ghost.ts. So this is where I'm going to put all the functions that we're going to create to be interacting with the Ghost API. So let's do that. First of all, let's import that API like so. And we're going to be needing a type as well called a posts or pages. There we go. And let's instantiate the Ghost API client like this. New Ghost content API. And what it wants here, first it needs a URL. And we can read from our environment like this. Ghost content API URL. Then it wants the API key under key. And oh, hold on, I made a little mistake here. It's not process.env. That won't work here. It's import.meta.env. That's the Astro way. And again, import meta.env, and then Ghost content API key, and then lastly the version, which in our case is version 5. There. So that's the API instantiated. Then I'm going to create a function called get posts. And this function we will be using to get posts from the Ghost API. And the reason I'm not using Ghost functions directly within Astro or within our Astro components or pages is because, if you want to make a small little change, oh, I want to make, I want to make the pages bigger, so it's just 32 posts per page or something. It's a lot easier to go in and fix that in one function rather than going through a bunch of pages. Now, the first input to my function will be filter, which we will be using to filter by tag later. Then, and then the page number, which we will default to 1. And what you're going to be getting back is going to be a promise of posts or pages. Okay, nice. So let's write out that function. It's quite simple. We do const posts. It's going to be equal to await api.posts.browse. So browse is the method you use if you want many. The limit, I'm going to hard code it to 20. The page will just be page. Filter will also just be filter. And then we have to make sure to also ask for tags and authors. Actually, we don't need authors. Let's remove that. And just a nice little semicolon, and then return the posts. When I set the limit, I have to do limit : 20, but when I write page, I don't have to do page : page. You could, but because the input is already called page here, so we have a variable called page, we can write a shorthand where we don't have to use the colon, just in case you were wondering. So that's our first function done. Let's make sure to export it so we can use it. Oh, there. Let's go ahead and update our posts list Astro component. So this component is what I'm using to, well, I can't show this. Let me load up a demo here. The post list component is basically this. It's a list of posts. And it's what I use so you can repeat the same visual style when you go into a specific tag page. It's going to be the same list component. It's just going to be filtered by tag. So let's update that. So instead of accepting a list of markdown posts, it's going to be accepting a list of ghost posts. So let's import a type called posts or pages. And then the input will be posts or pages. And we don't have to sort it by date anymore. That's automatically done. And we don't have to sort out any drafts because, all of that is handled by Ghost now. Yeah, we can remove the draft tag here. And see, title is going to be instead post.title. And the date will be post.published at. Right? Yes. It's giving me grief here because published at is an optional thing. It could be undefined. So what I'm gonna do is post.published at. If that's there, then show it, and then it's happy. All right, let's move on to something new. I want to create a new layout for displaying a list of posts. So I'm going to call that block post list.astro. Let's create a front matter here. Okay, so first let's import the base layout and import the posts list we've just updated. And let's create import the function we created, get posts from lib/ghost. Okay. If you experience this, let's see, TypeScript, it's all good. Okay, yeah. If you get this error in VS Code, you might just have to restart it. So let's do that. It's entirely possible. It can be a little finicky. And yeah, no. Okay, yeah. Just found the error. I apologize. Since it's a folder, then the alias is going to be @lib/star, like that, and then it's happy. I apologize for that. Okay, moving on. Let's tell Astro what sort of input we want for this layout. First, what filter do you want me to use? Christ, there. Then what page are we on? Then the title of the page. And then the subtitle. And let's make sure to pull that out like so. So filter, page, title, and subtitle. Destructured from astro.props. And let's get those posts then. Wait, get posts, filter, and page. Like that. And then we use our base layout. We pass on the title. And there. Let's create a H1. Here. This is going to be the page title. Just going to style it a bit. Let's just call it blog posts. And then that's subtitle. There we go. You know, and again, I'm just demoing here, so when you're actually building it, you know, you might want to do other things with how it looks and how it works, but you know, I'm just showing the ghost part here. And then I'm gonna add a slot here in case you might want to add something more to this layout below the post list. All right, and let's use this newly created blog post list layout. So let's go back into posts and create an index file. Oh, it's already there, my bad. Okay. And let's import it. Blog post list. And let's just use it. So, well, let's tell it what to do. So page is just going to be 1 for now. Page title will just be blog posts. Maybe all blog posts. And subtitle, hello world. Okay, let's try it out. Let's see what happens. Okay. And there we go. Look at that. Here they are, all of the blog posts. Well, there's 20 of them so far. Yeah, that's really nice. If you press on them, it's not going to work. And the URL is also wrong. So let's quickly update that. Let's go into post lists. And the URL is, instead, we have to construct our own here. So it's going to be /post/post.slug. There we go. Yes. Now, still won't work, but that's because we haven't implemented it yet. And yeah, in general, when you're getting data from Ghost, it's best not to trust the URL, because in this case, it was wrong. That's because I misconfigured it in the Ghost instance. But in any case, best not to trust it. Instead rely on slugs to generate your own URLs, like we've done right here. Before moving on to the blog post layout and making those individual pages work, let's just quickly add pagination to our post list view. So the way we do that, let's rename index to square bracket dot page square bracket. Let's get the page. When we renamed it like this, what we're telling Astro is there will be a page number or nothing. But if there's a page number, let me know what it is. So let's ask for it. So const page destructured from Astro params. I'm going to do let page number be 1. So that's the default. Now page is going to be, a string or a number or undefined. So we just want to check if there is a page. Well, then page number is going to be equal to the page assumed to be a string converted back to a number. That's going to give us the page, and then we can pass that in here. Very nice. Yeah, we have to export a function called getStaticPaths that you may or may not be familiar with. Now this function is just going to tell Astro what page numbers there are, because if we don't tell it, then it's not going to be able to generate the appropriate HTML when we export our site. And something really convenient from Ghost is it will tell you how many pages there are. So if we do this, const post is going to be equal to await get posts, no filter, and the page number is just going to be 1. There is within this variable the amount of pages. So if you go posts, meta, pagination, pages, that here holds the number of pages. So we have to generate the parameters that Astro might take as an input based on the amount of pages there are. So hold on to your seats. This is going to get a little advanced just in terms of, JavaScript or TypeScript shenanigans. So first, I'm going to create a variable called let pages. Well, the variable is going to be called pages. Let is to create it. I'm going to do an inline type. This can be an array of objects, which will have another object called params, which will optionally have a page number, which is actually a string. And then I'm going to initialize it with one page here undefined. So this is the default case when there is no page number defined. And if we were to return this, then it should, yeah, it works. So undefined is with no number. If let's say we do /2, it's going to complain because it doesn't know of a page 2. That's fine. Let's tell it. So I'm going to create a for loop, just a good old fashioned for loop. So let's loop until we have looped the amount of times as there is pages, if that makes sense. This is how you do it. The first statement here is the initializer, so we create a variable called I and set it to 0. And then the next part is the condition, so we say do run the loop until while I is still less than posts.meta.pagination.pages. And every time you do run it, increment I by 1. Then we want to add a new item to our pages array. It's going to be looking like this. Create a string. It's going to be I plus 1. There we go. And that should create a page 2. Ta-da! And as you can see, it is now a different set of posts that's shown on this new page. Isn't that wonderful? So something that's really missing here that I want to add is the pagination button, so you can actually manually navigate it, so you don't have to mess with the URL, which is not very user friendly. So let's add that. I'm going to go into our block list layout here. I'm going to create an array called pagination, and in here I'm going to put a list of links that should be displayed. And before I go on with that, let's create a little function that we can use to generate the URL of the next page and of the previous page. So I'm going to call it page URL delta, and it will take a delta, which is a difference, and then it will give you back a string. And the way this is going to work, need an equal sign here. The way this is going to work is, let's say you're on page 2 and you call this function and you give it a delta 1, it's going to return the URL of page 3. And if you give it a delta of -2, it's going to give you the first page, page 1. So the way we're going to do this, initially we're going to ask for the current URL. Like that. Then we're going to check if the last character is a number, because if it isn't, we're on the first page. So let's do a little bit of regex. So we're saying if this particular regex that I'm going to put in is false. So, bear with me here while I find the right characters, like that. So this test is just going to test the last character, whether it's a number. So let's get the last character, URL.length -1. Yeah, bit of a nasty one, but in any case, just follow me along here. 1 plus delta. Whew. Yeah, so what it is basically saying, this part here is going to take the last character of the URL, and then this regex is going to test whether that character is a digit. And we're saying if that's not the case, then we can assume we're on the first page. Then we can generate a URL saying, okay, well then take the current URL, add a slash, then do 1 plus the delta, which is going to give the next or the page that's requested. Alright, well since this hasn't returned, then we can now assume that we are on a numbered page. So then we need to get the number that we are on. No, actually we don't need to get the number we're on, because we would have that from here, which is fine. But we do need the root of the page that we're on. So let's do that. Last slash index. So we're gonna find out where's the last slash in this string. Like that. And then we're just gonna get everything before that. And then we're going to return the root slash the current page plus the delta. Whew. All right, cool. Then we say if we are on a page that's bigger than 1, then we should add a link to the previous page. So I'm going to do pagination.push text previous. The URL is going to be that function we've just created, and the delta is going to be -1. And then we're going to say if the page is not the last page, then there should be a next link. And just like before, text is going to be next, and the URL is going to be the page delta with 1. Okay, and let's create a little bit of UI down here to display it. I'm going to display it below the slot here. Create a div. Let's add a bit of margin to it. Okay. Above and below of 8. Let's create a text, or sorry, not text, a list. And we're going to create an item for each element in the pagination list we created. Be a list item, and then within that we should have a link, lowercase a though. Alright, and yes, the link will be to whatever the URL is, and the text will be item.text. And let's give it a little makeover. Oh, here we're adding padding to the sides, padding above and below, setting the background to black, the text to white, and a little spacing to the right. And then I just want to add some text to show what page we're on. I'll do page of, and then the amount of pages. Okay, and also this needs a little bit of a makeover. I'm gonna add some margin above and then dim the text a bit because it's not so important. Okay. There we go. Oh man, that looks great. Page 1 of 4. Next. Very nice. Although I do want them on the same line, so let's fix that up. UL will need a class of flex, which will put them next to each other. Like that. That looks really nice. And then once you get onto the last page, it won't have a next button anymore. And if you did try and go there, it will error. Because it's not found. Alright. Okay, cool. That looks really, really nice. Let's create this page here for the individual blog posts. Alright. So first, let's go into our ghost lib function. Functions, and create a new function called get post. And we'll use this to get the post given the slug. The output will be a promise of a singular post or page. So let's import that. There we go. And the way you do that is like this: await API.posts.read for a single one. And then you say the slug is equal to the slug here, and then you just want to ensure you also get the tags. There we go, and then return the post. Very nice, and then export this. Cool. Then let's go into our layout blog post. Oh, this one needs quite a bit of a cleanup as well. Well, I'm happy to announce we can delete most of it. Yeah. can delete the node fs. We can delete this. We can delete this. Cool. And then type props, we can delete that as well actually. Okay, and then let's tell Astro what sort of input we're looking for with interface props, and I'm just looking for a post of type post or page. Oh, yeah. And let's get it. Get it. Destructure from Astro props. I keep inserting a dot with the double space because that's something macOS does for you, right? Huh. I feel like trying to show it doing it and then I won't do it. Okay, it's just being weird. Anyways, first of all, we can remove the draft again. The tags will be post.tags. And then again here, post.tags. Oh, singular. And then here we do tag.slug and tag.title. No. Yeah, so we're kind of running into a little bit of a quirk of VS Code. So because I have all these arrows here, it won't show me the IntelliSense. So I don't know what's on this tag object. Fortunately, we can check in our API. Name is what we're going to be looking for. Tag.name. All right, title is going to be post.title. The date is going to be post.published at, but because it's not always there, we have to just check that it is there. Like that. And then image, the featured image, is going to be post.featured image. Nice. And then again, post.featured image. And then lastly, the content is going to be a fragment. So a fragment is a nothing. And then we're going to set the content of that to post.html. Ah, very nice. Yep. Well, that is that. So that's the layout updated. Let's go and create our a new page here in Astro. It's gonna be slug.astro within our posts folder, and then we just have to tell it what slugs there are. But first, let's go and create that function. In here within our lib ghost, create a new function called get all slugs. This could be an asynchronous function with no input. However, I promise you, I'm going to give you an array of strings back. There we go. So the way we do that is first we're going to get all posts from ghost. Limit will be all, so that's like saying there's no limit. And then I'm gonna say, but only give me the field that is slug, and that has to be a string. Nice. Then we return posts.map. Yeah, so map is used to create a new array. So we're saying return an array that is the slug of every post that we've received, and then export that function. Let's go back in here in our slug blog post page. So first we need to create a function called getStaticPaths that we've already seen. So we tell Astro what URLs to expect. So first let's get the slugs. Await get all slugs. So you can see it's imported it for me. And let's use that map function again, saying for each slug there is return an object with params, another object, slug, like that. Yep. Let's import the blog post layout. Let's get the slug. Now the problem with this slug is it's going to be a string or a number or undefined. So let's ensure it's not undefined. To let slug is equal let post slug equal to slug as string, and then use our blog post layout. Okay. Oh, right. Hold on. No. We can't input the slug. We have to do const post is going to be equal to get post slug, and then we input it there. Oh, and we have to await it. There we go. There we go. So yes, the slug might be undefined, but it also is never going to be, because there's no ... So just wouldn't, that page just would never exist. All right, let's check it out. There we go, and it just works straight off the bat, because we're geniuses, all of us. And as you can see, even the embedded things in Ghost works with images, and here's the featured image. Now here's something missing: the tag lists. So let's implement that as well. And that's actually going to be one of the last things we implement. So let's go and create a new function. And this is going to be the last function we create as well. We're going to call it const get tags. Well, I guess it's not called const get tags, it's called get tags, but we use const done to define it. Anyways, I promise you I'm going to return an array of tags to you. And like that. Simple one, really. We can just return api.tags.browse no limit. Again, I think this is safe to do because I don't really foresee a situation. Also, we have to import type tag. I don't really foresee a situation where you have so many tags that just returning all of them is gonna create any sort of issues. But maybe your mileage may differ, may vary, but really I don't think so. That seems implausible. Okay, get tags. Let's hop into this page here and update our. First of all, let's delete this. Get out of here, man. Let's update our get static paths. So const tags. Let's get all of them. There we go. And then use our map function. Okay, for each tag, return an object of params like so. Tag.slug. Nice. And we can delete this, right? We could use that layout that we created before. We'll do blog post list. Page is just going to be 1 for now. Page title will be, I Oh no, blog posts. Subtitle will be hello world. Now the filter here will be the tag. So, you know, the filter is going to be an array of the specific filters. We have just one, which is going to be tag, colon, and then the tag input. And that's it. I should do it. Yeah, and it has. It's already reloaded. So yeah, here's all the posts with the tag studio. Let's see what else there is. Podcast. Yep, very nice. Looking good. Import. Yeah, this is just all of them, basically. Now, the pagination is showing here correctly that there's going to be 4 pages of this tag. However, this will not work because it's wrong. It's implemented incorrectly. We haven't done it yet. So, the way we are going to implement it is we need to update the get static paths. Well, first we have to rename this file here from square bracket tagged square bracket to this here. This is going to create a new folder called square bracket tag and then page again. And then we have to, well, then you're telling Astro that each of these tags could have a page 2. Now again, it's going to give us a 404 because we haven't told it that there is a page 2. That's what we're going to do now. Do bear with me because it can get a little ugly. And in this case, I would just advise you to copy what I'm doing here. It took a while for me to figure it out. It's a nasty one, okay? Alright, let's get into it. I'm going to try and explain it as I'm doing it, but I might not succeed. So first, I'm going to say, await promise.all. So we're telling JavaScript to run a bunch of promises that I'm going to create here. So for each tag, I'm going to create So for each tag, I'm going to get all posts, or I'm going to get the first page. Just first page. And I'm going to create a chain onto that promise. I'm going to say once you have it, then create an array of params. It's going to look like this, sort of what we've done before. Again, just an inline type here. I'm going to initialize it with the undefined one. So that's going to be with no page. It's going to default to page 1. Cool. And then again with the cheeky little for loop. Say loop through each page. And then add that to the list of potential params. Say page, it's going to be I plus 1. And the tag will still be tag.slug. Okay. Once all of that has been done, then flatten it. And then we return that. Shee! Yeah, not a very fun one. we have to return it as well here. That's my run. Return those params that we constructed. Here we go. And returning the params has to exist outside. Right. And also, we're not flattening the post, we're flattening this. There we go. And then again, like before, let's get the page number. Let page number be 1. If page, well, then the page number is going to be equal to the number page. So, and then we can input that here. Oh, sorry, it's page number. There we go. Let's try and reload. There we go. There's page 2. Ta-da! Now that works. We're now within this particular tag. Cool. And that's actually it. We've now successfully implemented a connection with Ghost. You can take this any way you like, but I've given you the tools. You know, we've pulled the list of Ghost pages. We're displaying each individual page here, or each individual post. Like that. We've implemented pagination, so you don't just have a long list of things. There is just one last thing I want to show you if you're interested. So what we've done here, we've implemented, you know, the way Astro likes it as a static site, which means if we do pnpm build, it's going to take everything, it's going to render it into just static HTML. As you can see, it's taking all of the tags and all of the pages and all the posts and creating an HTML file. And this is the reason that we have to tell it in that function, get static paths, what all the slugs are and all the URLs, so it can generate this. Also, it takes a little while because it has to go back to Ghost every time. Alternatively, you can use server-side rendering, so then you don't have to tell Ghost all of the URLs, because once you're in production, once you deploy it, it will actually talk to Ghost in real time. We'll just go and ask every time. All right, let's do server-side rendering. First up, let's enable it by installing the node component or the node module from Astro. And then we pop into our configuration here. And let's add, we create an output called server. And then you have to say the adapter. It's going to be node. Nope, not node test. Hold on. Let's import node from astro.js/node. Okay, and the adapter will be node, and the mode will be standalone. There we go. Now let's run this. Just see what happens straight off the bat in this new SSR mode. Oh, well, yeah. Well, it's errored, and I'm happy to tell you why. But hold on, let's run it again. This page will work fine. That works fine. You cannot do the pagination. Let's see, it's probably crashed again. Oh, let me bring it up again. This page should work fine. Yes, this works fine. But you see, the problem is, And if we look at our logs here, it's telling you the get static paths has been ignored because you don't need it. Oh, no, let's not open Outlook. So this works. The problem is when you don't do /2, it thinks it's supposed with the slug of 2, because it's no longer respecting that you've told it that 2 is a page. So, you know, we're getting an overlap of roots, and this is, you know, not good. So let's fix that. And the way we're gonna fix it is I'm gonna rename this dot page to index, back to index. Okay, so I've renamed it to index, and we're gonna be nuking a little bit. So first I'm gonna nuke the whole tag thing that we've just tirelessly worked on. But actually, you know, hold on first. Let me undo that. Hold on. Let me commit this. Git checkout ghost B. Yeah. Git add everything. Git commit ghost SSG. Terrible naming. Let's look past that. Okay, cool. Rename to index. Nuke the tag. Boom. Nuke the get static paths. Else. The page number is instead going to come from just the URL from the query parameters, which I'll show you just in a moment. Astro.url search params dot get page. Oh my god. There, and then also the tag. Dot get tag. There we go. Page number is all good. I'm gonna add a filter. I'm gonna say if there is a tag input, then use that. There. Yeah, if there's a tag, then input that as a filter. I sense an error. Yes, we have to say, there we go. If no tag is provided, then no filter. And then we also don't need this anymore. Okay. And then also let's go into here the slug and nuke the get static paths. We don't need that anymore as well. And don't need that. There. Let's bring that up. Very nice. This still works. Yep. Okay. So now instead of doing /2, then I'm gonna do question mark page 2 and page 3. Very nice, huh? And the tag is gonna be and tag studio. Oh, there is no page 3 of studio, but we can do this. There we go. So that's that done. Let's go in and update the pagination, because as it stands, these buttons don't work with this newfangled search params. Let's update that really quickly in blog post list layout. Again, this will be simplified a little bit. We just get the page number as usual. The page number is going to be this. Then the new one will be page number dot delta. I'm going to say current URL. Search params dot set page to the page number as a string. And then we return the URL as a string. There we go. That's that done. And then let's go into a blog post and then update the tag link here. So it's just going to be like that. There. Now it's all working. Now this button will work correctly. Yes, sirs. And the link to a tag will also work correctly. So that's just a little annex or appendix on how to use it, or how to use server-side rendering with Ghost. I like this a lot, it simplifies a lot of things. As you saw, I almost deleted most of what we've done, but the point is to learn how Ghost works, and also how Astro works as a static site generator. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I apologize if I rambled a little bit. Usually I create the notes for a video and then I immediately record it, but in this case the notes were over a week old, so I've sort of forgotten some of it. So I can assure you that I've edited some parts out where I've sat like, what in the hell did I mean here? So yeah, sorry about that, but I hope the video was still useful, and if you need, the source code as always will be in the description. So thanks for watching.